between Hindu and Buddha and their relation to the clarification of the historical record of Borobudur. Question. What do the three major religions of India as well as Tibet have in common? Where does the main philosophy come from and does it originate? And if the original Indonesian teaching contains the word Dharma, is the philosophy of this teaching imported from outside? Take a look at this. The word Dharma is generally translated into English as a word which is interpreted as law, sometimes referred to as morality, dharmic. Dharma comes from a root word, der, which means to maintain, uphold, defend, protect, which in the adjective has the affix ic attached to its human. In contextual language throughout Indian philosophy, dharma implies the meaning of religion. Dharma is presented as a central concept used to describe the higher truth or ultimate reality of the universe. The term Dhamma is a spiritual and religious term predominantly in India, which means the duty of a righteous person or any pious path in the general sense of the term. The antonym of dharma is adharma, which means unnatural or immoral. The four categories of dharma in the Theravada Abhidhamma are 1. Sata, mind, consciousness. 2. Cetasika, mental factors, mental events, related mentality, there are 52 types. 3. Rupa, physical occurrence, material form, 28 kinds. 4. Nibbana, extinction, cessation, this dharma is unconditional, neither arising nor passing away due to causal interaction. There are 3 kinds of dharma in Mahayana. 1. The highest dharma of all, sarvesu anuttara, namely, nirvana. 2. The means for attaining nirvana, nirvana prapti upaya, namely, the noble eightfold path, aryastasgamarga. 3. All kind words, subhasita, honest words, satyavakana, the noble eightfold path. According to the classical thinker Madhyamaka, all phenomena, dharma, are empty, sunya, of nature. The substance, or essence, swabhava, which gives them a solid and independent existence, because they are interdependent, arises. But the emptiness itself is also empty. It does not have an existence of its own, nor does it refer to a transcendental reality that transcends or is above phenomenal reality. In Jainism philosophy, dharma is the attitude of nonviolence, not being arrogant, mardava, etc., known as dasalaksana or 10 indicators of spiritual purification. The Supreme Personality of God. The one and only, Hyang Widi Tunggal. Next. In the travel notes of Zan Zhang or Hyuan Siong, Fa Hian also Lt Xing or Yi Jing 671m, reported that Svarnadvipa is a place to learn dharma, in the location, the sun without shadow. King Pala descended from the Sailendra Balaputredua dynasty from Sumatra, built Nalanda, India for the sake of development of his education center in the archipelago, namely, Dharma Pala. Dapantha Hyang is one of the names of figures carrying the philosophy of dharma. After Sariputta, Dharmakirti and Atisha arrived out of the archipelago to India from Minanga Kanva, with the big ship, Panchalong, before and after AD. Muarataka's site, where there was once a center for learning the main basic philosophy of Dharma, Dhamma, which is still depicted in Borobudur and perfectly preserved in Bali. So, all sites as well as the original teachings in the archipelago are not based on one of the 2 Indian religions, but what is still depicted on the Borobudur site is also recorded in the original teachings of the archipelago and Bali, is what underlies the growth of the 3 religions there. Dharma, Dharmic, Nusantara, the initial philosophy of monotheism, Hyang Widi Tunggal, before the Samawi religion came. Hinduism and Buddhism share common origins in the Ganges of northern Indian culture during the so-called second urbanization, around 500 BC. They have influenced each other's parallel beliefs in existing philosophies that have existed side by side, but differences can also be found between the 2. Buddhism once reached its golden age in the Indian subcontinent due to the support of royal rule, but began to decline after the Gupta era, and almost disappeared from India in the 11th century, except in some pockets of India. It continues to exist outside India and major religions in several Asian countries. The term Buddha has appeared in Hindu scriptures before the birth of Buddha Gautama. In the Vayu Purana, sage Daksha calls Lord Shiva as Buddha. Similarities and differences. Karma, Sanskrit. From kr. The root, to do, is a word which means action or activity and often implies it. Thereafter results, also called karma phala, fruit of action. It is generally understood as a term to denote the entire cycle of cause and effect as described in the philosophies of a number of cosmologies, including the similarities of Buddhism and Hinduism. Karma is a central part of Buddhism. In Buddhism, karma is direct intentional. The results of one's words, thoughts and/or actions in life. In pre-Buddhist Vedic culture, karma had to do with whether or not the correct ritual action was performed. Little emphasis was placed on moral behavior in the early Vedic conceptions. In Buddhism, on the other hand, said a person, thoughts and/or actions form the basis for good and bad karma. Sila morality goes hand in hand with the development of meditation and wisdom. Buddhism carries a different meaning from pre-Buddhist conception of karma. Dharma, Sanskrit, Devanagari or Pali Dhamma, Devanagari, means laws of nature. Reality and significance with regard to spirituality and religion may be considered the way of higher truth. In the Hindu title Sanatana Dharma, which translates as eternal Dharma. Likewise, Buddha Dharma is a term for Buddhism. The general concept of Dharma forms the basis for philosophy, beliefs and practices that originate in India. The four main philosophies are Hinduism, Buddha, Jainism, Jaina Dharma, and Sikhism, Sikha Dharma. All maintain the centrality of Dharma in their teachings. Similarity in symbol. Mudras. It is a symbolic hand gesture expressing emotions. Buddha images are almost always depicted doing mudras. Dharma Chakra. The Dharma Chakra, which appears on the Indian national flag and the flag of the Thai royal family, is a Buddhist symbol used by members of both religions. Rudraksha. These are the beads that devotees, usually monks, use for prayer. Tilak. Many Hindus mark their heads with a tilak, which is interpreted as the third eye. The same sign is one of the characteristic physical characteristics of the Buddha. Swastika and Swastika. Both consider as sacred symbols. It can be clockwise or counterclockwise and is both seen in Hinduism and Buddhism. The Buddha is sometimes depicted with a swastika on his chest or palms. Swastika symbol. Question. If there is a symbol for Hitler's party flag in Bali, when did Bali ever rule by Germany? If there is a swastika symbol in India, it is also in Bali. When the Indians teach to make that symbol for Balinese culture. In Germany and India, there is a symbol with the letter S crossed. Swastika symbol of his name. Can they explain the meaning? The symbol, as complete as the Balinese people explain. The swastika symbol in India, Germany and elsewhere on the earth originates from one archipelago, has been perpetually recorded in Balinese culture. The symbol originated from the previous advanced civilizations that had existed on Earth and was centered in the Indonesian archipelago. Its previous designations were before 75,000 BC. Let's take a closer look. Based on the investigation of the search for the origin of the swastika symbol by scientists, it is concluded that until now it is difficult to find and still believes that the source and origin of the swastika symbol must have come from a very advanced source of civilization that was very advanced and ruled over a very large area. This is what scientists say, but where it has not been found. Balinese culture does not come from other cultures. Bali is a microchip of the archipelago's advanced civilization that stores complete data files. Balinese culture is not from India nor is it a religion. The most complete explanation of the swastika symbol is in Balinese culture. The culture or advanced civilization of the previous archipelago which was recorded strongly until now is in Balinese culture and other teachings of the previous archipelago. Bali is not India. Bali is Bali, not influenced by other cultures. Balinese culture with its swastika symbol is a trace of the previous advanced culture and civilization of the Indonesian archipelago, whose territory is almost 3/4 of the earth centered on this land. Yoga practice is closely connected to the beliefs and practices of both Hindu and Buddhist religions. However, there are different variations in the use of yoga terminology in the two religions. In Hinduism, the term yoga generally refers to the 8 branches of yoga as defined in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, written sometime after 100 BC. with the idea that an individual Atman or soul will bind with the monistic entity that underlies everything Brahman. Yoga in Hinduism is also known to be very complex. Based on integration, yoga defines a certain process, has an emphasis on knowledge and practice, which is known to be mature and difficult. Tapa or topo, restraint to attain the spiritual level. Brata, discipline, ordinance. A procedure that is carried out to be able to improve the quality of one's humanity to the highest level to know and then unite in will. Hyang Widi Tungal, not united in. One who performs Tapa Brata will get self-purification and inner enlightenment, efforts to increase the concentration of mind towards God Almighty for the purpose of perfection of human life itself, body and spirit. The person who first taught asceticism was Adam. This kind of ascetic activity is called Samhu, namely the attitude of sitting cross-legged in the morning and evening at least twice a day, continued by Noah, who at that time was called Ham. Arabic term Takanuts, a popular place is Hiro, cave. The asceticism that exists today all stems from what Noah taught. In the period after Noah it was called Milhayas, used in the period after the life of the prophet Noah as after the flood, Milhayas. Sejulur Papat Kalamo Panser, this term has only been popular since the end of the Majapahit kingdom around 15 to 16 AD. This practice or way of contemplation, topo, appears on the stupa above Borobudur. 1. Toponing bodies. 2. Toponing lust. 3. Toponing buddhi. 4. Toponing suksmo. 5. Toponing kahyo. 6. Toponing jesing. This procession appears in the form of a statue on the monument of the previous civilization of Nusantara Wana Saka Pala, Borobudur. And when a person has recognized the four brothers or the four parts of himself, then is united with himself. It means that he has become whole, he has recognized himself. That's why in Javanese science it is then called the term Sejulur Papat Kalamo Panser. This is the original teaching of the archipelago, not India. Humans are not only a combination of the 5 basic elements of earth, water, fire, air and ether, not only the 5 material forms. In order for humans to carry out their functions, they need energy. And energy is identical to what is called will. On the bas-relief, which is currently not being exposed, there is the inscription, Varga. This is not an Arabic term. The word which describes this is Jana, in Indian, Nibbana. And Nibbana is not Svarga. Bhawana Saka Phala, Borobudur, is based on the original teaching philosophy of the archipelago, not India. About Borobudur, whose real name is Wanasaka Pala. The 3 stages of Borobudur are an image that explains Bhawana Traya. Bhawana means universe, or planes of existence. Bhawanatraya are the 3 planes of existence that exist in this universe. 3 realms of life are reflected in the 3 stages of Borobudur. 1. Bhawana Langing, eternal realm. 2. Bhawana Drio, external nature. 3. Bhawana Triya, spiritual realm. In Sundanese Wiwitan it is called Bhawana Niskala, Bhawana Alam Tenga and Bhawana Nyunkung, Sasaka Domas. Batak culture, Parmalim divides the 3 major natural patterns, Banua, or Wana. 1. Banua Ginjang, heavenly realm. 2. Banua Tonga, R-dimensional realm. 3. Banua Toru, hells. The original teachings of the archipelago, the previous advanced Dharma, were recorded in the teachings, Parmalim, Samin, Sundanese, Wiwitan, Tengar, Talatang, Marapu, Kaharingan, Bali. We are the Aryan Scythia, Saka race as evidenced by hundreds of inscriptions dating back to Saka and not starting in 78 AD, appearing on the reliefs of Borobudur with the literacy of the word Mahachakya. Our ancestral philosophy of the Saka is Dharmic, which underlies the birth of 3 religions in India. The original teachings of the archipelago, Dharmic, are fully illustrated in Borobudur, perfectly preserved in Balinese culture, both of which do not have the philosophy of Indian teachings, but the philosophy recorded in both underlies the religion that grew there. In Tibetan Buddhist Vajrayana, however, the term yoga is only used to refer to any kind of spiritual practice, from various types of Tantra, such as Kriya Yoga or Charya Yoga, to yoga gods and yoga teachers. In the early stages of translating the Sutrayana and Tantrayana from India, China and other regions to Tibet, along with the lineage of sadhana practice, codified in the Nyingmapa canon, Sanskrit, yana is Adi Yoga, Sanskrit. Meditation. There are various common terminologies and general descriptions of meditative practice which are seen as the basis of the yoga meditation practice in both Hinduism and Buddhism. Many scholars have noted that the concepts of dhyana and samadhi, technical terms describing the absorption stage of meditation, are common to meditation practice in both Hinduism and Buddhism. Most important in this context is the similarity between Buddhist dhyana, Pali, jhana, and classical yoga samprajnata samadhi. Also, many Tibetan Vajrayana practices with chakras, channels of inner energy, nadi, and kundalini, are called tumo in Tibet. Caste. The Buddha rejected caste differences in Brahmanical religion, with the ordination of all regardless of caste. Nirvana. The word nirvana, Pali, nibbana, was first used in a technical sense in Buddhism, and cannot be found in any of the pre-Buddhist Upanishads. This can be found in the text. Jain. The use of the term in the Bhagavad Gita may be a sign of the strong Buddhist influence on Hindu understanding. Although the word nirvana is absent in the Upanishads, the word itself predates the Buddha. It must be remembered that nirvana is one of the many things for salvation that occurs in Orthodox Buddhist scriptures. Another term that appears is vimoksha, or vimutti, implying salvation and liberation, respectively. Some of the more synonymous words used for nirvana in the Buddhist scriptures are areoka, moksha, meaning liberation, and kavala, kaivalya, meaning wholeness. These words were given a new Buddhist meaning. Nirvana, svarga, heaven. What philosophy underlies Borobudur? Is this true teaching philosophy from India? There are 160 panels on the bas-reliefs of Borobudur which are now not exposed, and the 12 words, svarga, are listed in figure 137. The language and philosophy that underlie it are not from India or Arabic. Swargo, or svarga, svargaloka, KW Kadwan, heaven, svarga. In the source of the Lontar quote, Geguritan Bhima Svarga. This Svarga Loka is a holy realm. Heaven of the gods is a temporary stopover for people with good spirits. In the Lontar, Putrupasaji, it is mentioned that there are realms of the gods such as Iswarapada, Brahmaloka, Buddhaloka, Wisnapada, Svarga Manak, Sanghyang Saraswati Shri Mana, Indrapada, Darapada, Vilasatya, Siwapada, Gandalanga Jandewa Pralabda, Pitraloka. That, Svargaloka, is the third world full of light and joy, which is the abode of holy people. To get to this realm, one has to do self-cleansing with 1. Karana Sarira. 2. Suksma Sarira. 3. Triyanta Karana. The science in Java is called Sarat Sastra Jendra Hyuningrat Pangruwading Du. This is the original teaching of the archipelago, not India. According to Islamic law, that the treatment of each individual in the barzakh is applicable to one's own deeds, then it becomes a picture of the afterlife. In Islamic eschatology, after death a person will remain in the realm of the grave, barzakh, until the day of resurrection, Yom al-Qiyamah. Hereafter. Arabic. Transliteration. Akhira is used to term the afterlife, eternal, after death, after the world ends. Jannah, Arabic, is the concept of heaven. In Islamic teachings, the literary text of the word heaven is not found in the scriptures. So the literary text of the word heaven is an absorption from the original philosophy of the archipelago, not from India or Arabia. The word Jannah in Arabic means garden. In the current Indonesian interpretation, it gets the affix of the word heaven and becomes garden of heaven. In the Veda, it says that Swarga is a third world, full of light and light, which is the abode of the gods and is termed Swarga Loka. Swarga is a temporary stopover which in the Bhagavad Gita says, after enjoying the vast Swarga, they return to the world. Swarga as a place of temporary pleasure, while true happiness is moksha. The union of Atman, soul, with Brahman, the creator. Swarga, as heaven of the gods, is the first level layer of the Swaloka realm, which is in the Triloka level. The soul will feel happiness and peace. Venerable Siddhartha Gautama describes Buddhism as a raft which, after floating on a river, will allow the occupants to attain nirvana. In a deeper sense, nibbana is supreme bliss, a state of immensely eternal bliss. The bliss of nibbana cannot be experienced by indulging the senses, but by calming them down. Nibbana is not a place, nibbana is not an absence or extinction. Nibbana is not a heaven or svarga. There is no suitable word to describe this nibbana. Nibbana can be realized by eliminating greed, lobha, the hatred of the sins of ignorance, moha. Conclusion. The original teachings of the ancient Indonesian archipelago ancestors already knew svarga and one God, Hyang Widi Tunggal, before the religion of the immigrants to this land. The meaning of the true meaning of life after death, between the original teachings of the archipelago written in Borobudur, Svarga, and Islam, also the religion that was born in India, is very different. And the writing or text, Svarga, in Borobudur, the language and philosophy are the original teachings of the ancestors of the Indonesian archipelago, not based in the religion that is claimed today. The teachings of our ancestors, Dharma, Dhamma, which colored almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface recorded in the reliefs of Borobudur, long before BC, was in the archipelago. The ancestors of the archipelago in the previous advance had become God, have believed in the existence of a supreme God, with a different mention in each region in the archipelago Nusantara, Indonesia. And the procession of worship, sembahyang, is identified with the literacy of the word prayer, semba. The literacy of the word is formed from two syllables, worship, or semba, and word, God or hyang. Hyang is a word that shows an understanding of the absolute God, the one Almighty God, Hyang Widi Tunggal. The previous ancestors of Nusantara had understood the concept of understanding and understanding above, more. Formerly, before the birth of the great noble figures who lived in 560-480 BC in India, also the celestial religion. Even It Shing noted that Svarnadvipa is a place where learned about the main basic philosophy of Dharma before studying in India. This philosophy is what the named figures carry. Sanjaya, Sariputra, Svarnaksa, Svarnadvipi Dharmakirti also went to India. Bhayatisha to Tibet, and the last figure to the archipelago, Dapyun to Hyang. Svarnadvipa, centered on the location, sun without shadow, equinox. According to It Shing's notes, here are the remaining traces of the source of the philosophy of the devotees of one God. The worshippers are recorded as Para Hyangs, and sometimes called Para Hyang, identifies with Pryangan. Paryangan, which is given a new meaning as a place to be happy, even though the root word is Para sisters, devotees of the holy God, the footprints on the earth of Svarnadvipa. Tapo, the position of the body sitting cross-legged reads, Kanyago, in the local term it is called Tapo, even higher is called Bathara, a qualified person is called Bathara Guru. Bodhi, the tree that grows in the holy area, Bodhisattva, becomes Buddhi, the root word is Bodhi. Pilyong, gets a new meaning, namely, choice. The root words are Pili, Dharma, and Hyang, God, which reflect the philosophy adopted in the past. Sankhayan is given a new meaning of chicken trump. The beginning of this word is from the word Sangha, congregation, Hyang, God, the congregation who worship the one God. Hyang River became Sangayang. Sri Suruwasa becomes Surwaso. Jambu Dwipa, land of origin, changed to Jambu Lipo, and given a new meaning. Janbi, you forgot. The origin of the word is Jambu Dwipa, Jambu Island. Kanva, Kampar. Panchala, the Panchalong ship. The places and names above are still around today in Svarnadvipa because Muaratakas site. In Svarnadvipa there was once a center for learning the main principles of Dharma, which is still depicted in Borobudur and perfectly preserved in Bali. The procession of contemplation of the archipelago's ancestors to worship is identified by the word, sembahyang. This is not animism, dynamism. Suro. Where did the word, suro, come from, and was it already used in the archipelago before the arrival of Islam in the archipelago? Come on. Think critically and intelligently. Look at the history of our predecessors. Let's look carefully. Based in the Big Indonesian Dictionary, the word, suro, is a place where Muslims perform their worship, praying, reciting the Quran, etc. break. The word, surau, existed in the archipelago before the arrival of Islam in the archipelago. This study and analysis proves that the sites and kingdoms in the archipelago before Islam entered the archipelago were not Hindu, Buddhist, as written in history books so far. Word text literacy. Surau, sometimes called Suro. The term Suro is understood by the majority of the Muslim community, is the month of Muharram. Muharram is a month that has long been known since pre-Islamic, then in the time of the Prophet until Umar ibn Khattab was inaugurated as the name of the month in the Islamic calendar. Etymologically, Muharram means the month that is given priority and is glorified. The meaning of this language is inseparable from the reality and symbolic inherent in that month. In the month of Muharram, it is full of various historical events, both prophetic and apostolic, is a historical momentum full of meaning because various important events in the historical process are accumulated in that month. In Kadachuan before and after it was called Srivijaya, in the Islamic era, namely before the 7th century, which had a city called the Holy City. The main core zone area in the Holy City of Kadachuan was 16.7 hectares of the Holy City with a radius of 220 kilometers of central government. On the hill, Katanka, with its area marked Koto, which uses numbers. The Puja Center is fortified with a 3 mtr high earthen embankment within a 7.5 kilometers radius, not a brick wall which is only 1.2 meters high and only a few square meters in area. In the pre-Islamic period it was called Mong Takui, after Islam was called Muotakui, after the colonial era until now it was published as Muara Takus Temple. Srivijaya's unity with the Holy City, and its center of puja in the pre-78 AD era was called INDONÄSIARYÄ. Literally the word Indo, at the time of the mother, Indra Brahman, was called the word Indra, more fully referred to at that time as Indradunia, was then used in the period of his successor, namely his son's grandson named Shanghyang Prabhu Maharajadaraja Indodunia, until he entered the Islamic era, and until now the indigenous people use more of the short word Maho Indo, or Dadu Majindo, until now in Aliantan. In the Aliantan area as the northern gate of the Holy City there is a Dadu which is called Dadu Maho Indo, shortened to Dadu Majindo, which belongs to the main tribal line of the male line of Indra Brahman, namely, Kaniago, taken from the name Kandra Nago. Quote, Datu Maho Indo was shortened to Datu Majindo, which served as a security guard in the inner area after the north gate, which was entitled Shanghyang Datu Panglimo Campo, symbolized by Black Tiger. The village or village called Moan Muara Mahake, which is currently submerged by the hydropower reservoir, is the second gateway to enter the Holy City area in the center of the Kadri. The literacy of the word Mahake is the name of the local community, which is derived from the word Mahe Maha, which is Aging, carved into the bas-relief of Borobudur, which is now closed, namely the literary text of the word Mahachakya, Kakya is Saka. This is a special gate in past the princes and scholars to enter the Holy City to the center of the puja. The entrance to the north gate of the Holy City, in the area which is now called Aliantan, is originated from a combination of two words, Arya, and Tantra. Local people around Kadachuan in their native dialect or native language are not used to pronouncing letters R. Hence the words Arya and Tantra, combined in the abbreviated designation, become Aliantan, where the Arya Knights carry out the highest level of Dharmic original learning process after undergoing education in an area near the center of the puja in the form of a kind of large campus called Dharmapala. From here the Chinese pilgrims learned, they copied the book and brought the original Dharmic to their country, instead of bringing Buddhism, and then spread it to the archipelago, as it is currently published in Palembang as one of the places of learning, so Kampar 13 is also Koto. Palembang was not the center of Buddhist teachings in the past. Chinese students, pilgrims who come to the archipelago to learn. Fa Huan 337-422 ad. Sung Yun 518-521 AD. Haiyan Sang 602-664 ad. Wei Ning 664 AD 667 AD. I Sing 671-695 ad. Atisa Dipamkara Shranyana, 1013 AD, studied 12 years at the palace, Silver Umbrella, located on a hill west to the center of the puja, 1 kilometer from the area of the world's oldest university, Dharmapala, branched out in Nalanda, India. Atisa Dipamkara Shranyana, 12 years of study to his teacher, Svarnadvipa Dharmakirti. Returning to his country when there was a riot in the area which was attacked by Chola, Atisa brought Dharmak to his country and developed into the teachings of Tantrayana and Vajrayana. This location or place of study at the time of I Sing 671-695 ad here. Only the foundation remains. Aliantan, in the pre-Islamic period, was the entrance gate to the northern area of the Indo-World City, starting from Siak upstream, Pensermanan Pantai Sermon approximately 100 kilometers, to enter through a road with a deep ravine on the right and left side. This road at call the community the Hill Road, Pile of Bones. The controllers and rulers of this northern entrance were led by a commander named Shanghyang Dadu Panglimo Buyong Amban, who was known firmly and fiercely, not reluctant to behead people who entered with bad intentions and confiscated their belongings and kept their confiscated assets in a copper box. Black on the hill, Amban dumped his corpse on the right side of the road, leaving the bottom, many victims and human bones. The lowest part of the bottom is the river Puo, as the boundary of the division of duties in the guard area, which is led by the right side of the Amban hill led by Shanghyang Dadu Panglimo Mudo, to the Tandan area. The left side to the Puo area is Shanghyang Dadu Panglimo Sikuban. The leader of the area after the north gate is Shanghyang Dadu Panglimo Kampuo, and Shanghyang Dadu Panglimo Sikuban, a line from his father named Shanghyang Datu Maharajadaraja Sikuban, King Vanua, vassal who was entrusted by the center of the congregation, the sons of him. This is what is called Tantra, which is famous for its supernatural powers. In this area there is a cave to carry out a high-level process of the advanced learning process after studying at the university. Dharmapala area is close to the center of the puja. When and who was the Indian missionary to the archipelago, until the sites of the pre-Islamic kingdom and sites were called Hindu Buddhists? There is no answer, because there never was. It's just labeling. Dr. Bennett Bronson 1973, in Archaeological Research Report in Sumatra, made the 20th of May to the 8th of July 1973. The research was conducted by the Indonesian National Institute of Antiquities and Heritage in collaboration with the University of Pennsylvania Museum, Philadelphia, America. From the excavation of the mound in the area around the main temple of Muaratakus, they found a bronze artifact in the form of an elephant-headed human, besides a bronze mirror whose side is covered with gold with a presentation reaching 83%, meaning almost 24 carats. Another Vajra find, as well as an inscribed brick find that paleographically contains a mantra that reads Om Ah Binanta Kr Hum Fat Svaha. Inside the site, Kandi Bungsu, a copper box is found in which there are 3 gold plates that read 1. Om. 2. Ah. 3. Home. On the side of the box there is a cremation trowel, sticks and weapons decorated with jewels on the right and left. The local language calls it oval sword, sulo. Third word text literacy. Om. Ah. Home. This is in Hinduism, Buddhism, not only in one of them. It means that both Hindu, Buddhist teachings that were born outside the archipelago use the same word. This is the word that comes from Dharmic original, which originated in Nusantara. This teaching is perfectly recorded in Bali. And Bali is not India. The 11th century AD was the time of saving the Dharmic original books out of the boundaries including Tibet, Java and Bali. In the Aliantan area there is a term, Suro Batu. Form or arrangement of stones that in pre-Islamic times was used as a place for contemplation, or a place for samadhi tapo upasana. Namely the process of learning. Original Dharmak. In the Sumbar area, this form is called Biaro. This is called by the previous community as Suro Batu. Namely, Swaro, on the pile of rocks, or the often heard temple. The hum of Brahmins rshi, masters doing spiritual contemplation. It was a hum of hum, om, or aum. The literacy of the word Suro begins with the word Swaro, or Suara, and then changes to a word Suro, which after Islam means a place of worship. This is the same function of the place as that of our pre-Islamic ancestors. So, all sites as well as the original teachings in the archipelago are not based on one of the two Indian religions, but what is still being depicted on the Borobudur site is also recorded in the original teachings of the archipelago, is what underlies the growth of the three religions there, Dharma, Dharmak, Nusantara, the initial philosophy of monotheism, Hyang Widi Tungal, before the Samawi religion came. Continues to section 9. By Santo Saba.